7, CAS, project, poetry, mural. But I love your feet, only because they walked upon the earth, and upon the wind, and upon the waters, until they found me. By Pablo Neruda, which we can't really see up there. It's a projector issue. Now, it didn't take long to do this. It's not the best. I would expect you to be much better. Stole the poem, because I didn't want to write one. You will write one. Let's see what this might be. So, our poems decorating walls inside and outside of our beloved school. Could be cool. Think about our school has a bunch of relatively new, got a lot of glass in it, which is fantastic, but we have a lot of walls, got a lot of tile too, but there are some serious spaces in our school where they're kind of blank or naked, and a lot of lovely visible places which could be improved with some sort of open space, some sort of public space works. Think about it. Poems and visuals. So we go back to our example. These guys right here, I'll send you this. I think I've already shared this with you. I have. You can click on them and open them up. There's a whole bunch of, they're just general little ideas about what you might sort of create, what it can physically look like when it's on a wall, and the sort of visuals that will also work with your poems, depending on what you write.
What does that say?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's, it could be Norwegian. I can't see it from here. Maybe it's Dutch.
They wrote it near them backwards.
So these are, in terms of the visuals, you know, they're geographic. I guess they're abstract. Maybe there's something to do with the content of the poem. Ultimately, we would want that to happen. Think about the subject matter of what your poem's going to be about, and then, of course, some sort of visual which would coincide with that would be fantastic. I like this a lot. We like this a lot. It's cool, huh? It says up there in Latin script, but it's in Greek. Guess what it says in Greek? This is a poem. Yeah. And that one's really cool.
So you scan it.
Oh, goodness me. Like, you don't know what these guys do. We used these all the time last year.
No, I thought that.
They would want you to scan it, and then you have to see what pops up.
Yeah, that would be so cool, though, if you could just, like, look at it and secretly there's a poem inside.
Or it'd be cooler that you could scan it with your phone and take the poem with you for It's also a mosaic, because we know that those QR codes are actually small little bytes of information, and so they come out in little squares. Feet, walk into the poem, it works. It's not the best. It took me 15 minutes, no problem. Each student will create a poem. Could be one that you've already done. Could be. Because some of you have done a lot of cool stuff. But what you have to think about is, and here's our little think about, hold on to your ideas, think about subject matter. Which is fine, don't get me wrong, I love a lot of your poems. And well, I mean, not that we have indecent poems, that's not what I'm getting at. But I don't know, about the one about the killing the bunnies and all the other bloody weirdness you guys always love to write about. Which is great for us, it is great for certain contexts and certain audiences, but maybe not in front of the primary bathroom. Go ahead.
Can it be a haiku?
Could it be a haiku? Let's think about that. I'm not going to answer. We'll have to answer that together. Have to think about length. Let's go back to these examples real quick. Now, it's going to be on a wall. So if we think about font size and we think about the physical act of how this is going to get up there, we're going to paint it. And we have a couple of tricks that will make the painting aspect much easier for all of us. But each letter and subsequently each word could be rather time consuming, so we have to think about links. So definitely no epic poems, yeah? No, long won't do it. Now if you have a long poem, which is fine, and you like it, you might, because this bit over here, it's just one stanza of this poem, but it does sort of hit at the main theme of it. The other stanzas are potentially equally as important, but I grabbed this one because it was just sort of poignant. And it looked nice, and it sort of got the whole theme in one little bit. You could also look at a pre-existing poem that you were very proud of and be like, well, how could I alter this? How could I modify it to make it more condensed? There's lots of things we can do with this. Now, each student will create a digital image of their poem along with some simple graphics. Digital. Now, I would love to use Photoshop. I don't know why these secondary computers wouldn't have Photoshop on them. They're supposed to. If you have it on your computer, I would love to use Photoshop, but it is not our only option. We could also use simply, I use Google Drawing for this. I did use Photoshop to manipulate the foot, but no, I'm sorry, I didn't, because I don't have my computer there. I have this secondary computer. I use Pixlr, which is a cloud-based online program. It works kind of like Photoshop. It's rather easy. So we have a couple options, and we can mix and match as long as we end up with our digital product, which could be a JPEG and could be a PNG. We have to also think about, one second, all those fantastic ideas. Think about simplicity of the icon and how that's going to work in terms of being on the wall. How many colors in these guys over here? It's really one, if we don't include the background. 2, 3 at the most, 2. So these are much like printmaking, and I know you've done some basic printmaking in your visual arts class, and we know that each color is, in a sense, a different layer, and we can't get too complex with that. We can with the colors. We also want to think about color schemes, primary, secondary, tertiary, and which ones work well with which, because brown doesn't always look good with
Yellow.
Actually, it does. I like brown and yellow. Brown and purple do not work because they're at the opposite ends of the spectrum, and only if you're daltonic colorblind. Now, you could use any one of these dudes right here. One second. Poems will be painted inside and outside of schools by tracing our images onto the walls with the use of projectors. Just like this is projecting out there. We can use all sorts of paint depending if we're interior, exterior, painting. But how do you get your image to go on the wall? You create your JPEG. We decide how big we want it by moving the projector closer or farther away from the wall. And we trace. And then you go back and you paint in your letters, which make your words, which make your stanzas and your couplets or whatever you have with that. And they also make the images, the iconic or graphics that go along with it. Click on that guy right there, and it should take you to a movie of some lady showing you basically what she did. Pretty simple. Just an idea. This one as well. I think it's the same one. Now, that is a stencil. And you know what? In terms of tracing that, it's not any more difficult than the actual lettering. And creating a stencil, if you have Photoshop, is relatively easy. So for those of you who are pretty good with your hands, and pretty good with the computer, which doesn't take too much, this is a viable option. But if you mess up with this leafy stuff right here, who's going to really know about that one? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the leaves are there, but if you mess up with this, you know, making this, if his mouth is not underneath his nose, which should not be a problem if you were tracing some, not even fine motor skills. We'll see what that looks like. Advanced, maybe a stencil. So these were original photos that somebody just put into the program and clicked a couple buttons. You click on that little link right there. Some dude from the UK will show you how to do it. The video is maybe 1.5 minutes long because that's how easy it is to take a photo and turn it into basically a single layer image, which is essentially a stencil. Is your poem about a cute little pug?
No.
What's a stencil? It's something, well, these will be stencils because we're going to be projecting them, but basically if I were to have that image on a piece of paper, I could cut out all the stuff that's black, then go back on top of it, paint the areas that are open, take my piece of paper away, and that's what I have. Often called silkscreen, xylography, all sorts of printmaking is based on that, and most of the t-shirts you have are also some sort of print like that. All right. So, step 1, what do we want to do? We have to have our actual poem. Do you already have one? Step 2, think about audience. Think about where this could go. We are presenting this to our lovely administration very soon. I want to show them our work and how that would look at school before it's just too theoretical. Because they know about your bunny killing poems.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my killing dog poem.
Yeah.
Do they know about that?
I think that's the one
Whale.
I showed them the other day.
Ew.
I think I had to show them something with
Once this guy
technology.
named Bob.
And I introduced
Right,
that
when
was
I'm getting
it.
a job,
That was it.
He
All right,
filled
all
in my
right.
signature like
So, we are going to think about our subject matter, think about where this might go. If you were one of the lucky ones who might be able to do it in the cafeteria, need some sort of artwork. It doesn't have to be food related, but you know, maybe audience and location environment has something to do with your theme and your purpose. Write your poems, think about length, think about all that stuff. If it's going to be on the wall, it could be up there for 8 decades. Bring your kids back to school to see your poem. It would be pretty cool. Hopefully that won't happen in a decade, but you know what I'm saying. They could be up there I don't know what the maturation rate for Ukrainian hill monkeys are, but probably not.
She's gonna be 23.
No, but
She's only at 2 meters tall, so we'll figure it out. Don't worry about the childbearing stuff.
Just take them and be like, this is my poem.
My point is, if it's going to be someplace for prosperity, we want this to be quality.
Can we make some about teachers because otherwise
Do you think that's going to probably be what we want to put on the walls? Unless it's something that, you know, could it be about education? Of course they would love that.
Could it be a teacher that wasn't actually in the school that you could talk about, like,
Dude,
an example of
this is, we'll all talk about this on an individual basis, but the big idea is we think about audience, we think about what would be conducive of a poem on a wall at school, something to deal with, you know, all our sort of IB learner profile stuff, about being a risk taker, about being balanced, about being decent to other people, all sorts of things. So that's the sort of stuff we would like to see at the school, I think. Does that have to be happy?
No.
I don't.
Depressing death poem.
Now, think about this. Think about. Yes, thank you. Shut. See me finished? Good, hold on to it. She's been very patient for the last 10 minutes. So, subject matter is hugely important. You may have a fantastic poem, but you know what? It might not work. I got tons of speeches, but they don't necessarily work in high school graduation, and nor do they work at somebody's funeral. So time and place is extremely important in terms of your content and subject matter. It's going to go on the wall at a school. Is it about playing? Is it about having fun? It might work somewhere near the gym. I don't know. Don't write one about going to the bathroom thinking it's going to go next to the bathroom. Although that does make some sense. Questions, go ahead. Romy has a decent question. You will listen. Go ahead.
So, if you want something like to be put in the kindergarten, then it could be like something simple, very simple.
Doesn't have to be simple. I mean, that's a good point. If we had a wall, I don't want you to. I want it to be as lofty as it needs to be. Okay, don't dumb it down. It could be cute and it could be fun. Who likes to Shel Silverstein poems about the weird bird? I love those poems.
Not weird.
But he has a million. But the point is, that is on the same level for a 4th grader. But equally, an adult walking by would get something out of that. So you don't have to talk about SpongeBob and.
Could it be a blackout poem?
Could it be a blackout poem? I don't know if that would make any sense on the wall. It's pretty cool.
A black wall. A couple words.
There's no black wall.
I don't think so, but it's a fantastic idea.
What if we have like a poem, for example, that we put in a 5th grade classroom about like what you're going to do when you're older, or like growing up or something?
Would that make sense for anybody at school?
It's like pressure.
This is all part of growing up. So we go back to our theme-based things, coming of age, growing up, school is a journey, quest, it all makes sense, yes. All right. So all of this will be